Why would one of the most powerful and respected knightly orders in medieval Europe vanish almost overnight? The Knights Templar were warriors, bankers, and protectors of pilgrims, celebrated across kingdoms. But their fall was sudden, brutal, and cloaked in secrecy. The truth behind their downfall isn't just about power and betrayal. It's far more complex and surprising. My name is Charles, and today we'll uncover the hidden forces that brought down the legendary Knights Templar. At the height of their influence, the Templars were no ordinary knights. They controlled vast networks of castles and commanderies across Europe and the Holy Land. They developed a pioneering banking system, guarded sacred relics, and reported only to the Pope. This autonomy made them uniquely powerful and dangerously independent. But power breeds enemies. The Order's rise during the Crusades gave them a divine purpose: to defend Christian pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem. Yet, as the Crusades faded, so did the Templars' military relevance. Still, they held on to massive wealth, land, and international influence. And it was precisely that influence that would paint a target on their backs. You might wonder, if they were so respected, who would dare move against them? The answer lies in a powerful and cunning monarch, King Philip IV of France. Deeply indebted to the Templars, Philip saw the Order not as allies, but as a financial and political threat. What happened next was as calculated as it was ruthless. Philip orchestrated a masterstroke of medieval propaganda. He secretly sent orders across France, instructing officials to arrest all Templars simultaneously at dawn. They were accused of heresy, idolatry, and even blasphemy. Allegations were dark and shocking: secret rituals, spitting on the cross, worshipping strange idols. But were they true? Historians now believe many of these claims were fabricated. Under brutal torture, Templars confessed to crimes they likely never committed. These forced confessions fueled the narrative Philip needed to justify his actions, but the real motive wasn't religion. It was control over Templar wealth and the elimination of a rival power. What's especially intriguing is how the Church responded. Pope Clement V, under enormous pressure from Philip, initially hesitated. But eventually, the papacy disbanded the order, not through solid evidence, but through political compromise. The Templars were dissolved by decree, not because they were proven guilty, but because it was politically convenient. One of the most haunting images from this saga is that of Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Templars. Burned at the stake, he maintained his innocence until his final breath, and according to legend, cursed both the king and pope from the flames. Strangely, both men died within a year of his execution, fueling centuries of myth and mystery. But the real story of why the Templars fell runs deeper than revenge or greed. Their downfall reveals how fragile power can be, even when protected by divine favor. The Templars believed their loyalty to God and the Church made them untouchable. Yet in the end, it was earthly politics that sealed their fate. There's another dimension that's often overlooked: how the Templars' secretive nature worked against them. Their internal codes, rituals, and vow of silence made them easy targets for rumor and suspicion. The very mystique that made them legendary also made them vulnerable. So why does their story still captivate us? Perhaps because the Templars were more than just knights. They were a symbol of idealism, sacrifice, and mystery. Their sudden fall feels like a betrayal of that ideal, a reminder that in the medieval world, truth was often less important than power, and there's still much more to uncover about what truly happened in the shadows. Many people believed the Templars simply vanished after their dissolution, but the truth may be far more intriguing. Following the official disbanding, not all Templars were executed or imprisoned. Many disappeared quietly into society, retreating into monastic life, joining other orders, or going into hiding. Some even believe they preserved parts of their network, wealth, and secrets underground. One of the most persistent theories is that the Templars went underground and re-emerged centuries later, under different names. Speculation ranges from their influence on Freemasonry to secret societies that shaped the Enlightenment. While these connections remain unproven, they've fueled fascination with the Templars for generations. But why does the legend endure? Because the Templars' fall wasn't just a historical event, it became a symbol of betrayal, of power abused, and of the peril faced by any group that dares to rise too high. The Templars were devout, disciplined, and loyal to a fault, and yet those very qualities were manipulated and turned against them. From a financial perspective, the dismantling of the order served one key purpose: seizure of their immense assets. Much of their treasure was absorbed by the French crown, but whispers suggest some of it vanished. Entire convoys carrying gold, relics, and documents were rumored to have left France before the mass arrests. Historians continue to search for traces of this lost Templar treasure. But to this day, it remains one of history's most enduring mysteries. What's even more compelling is how the fall of the Templars shifted the balance of power in medieval Europe. Their absence allowed monarchs and centralized governments to assert greater control, weakening the independence of military orders and the Church's temporal power. In a way, the destruction of the Templars foreshadowed the end of an era, the slow decline of knightly orders and the rise of the modern state. There's also a more human angle. For the thousands of knights who survived, their lives changed forever. Some were forced to abandon their identity, losing their brothers, their purpose, and their code. Imagine having devoted your entire life to a cause, only to be branded a criminal overnight. For many, it wasn't death that ended them. It was the silence, the erasure, the exile. Even centuries later, the Vatican's own records suggest deep discomfort with how the Templars were treated. In recent decades, previously sealed documents, such as the Chinon parchment, revealed that Pope Clement had privately absolved the Templars of heresy, but he allowed the order to be dismantled anyway. These findings reinforce what many historians now argue, that the Templars were victims of political ambition, not divine justice. And yet, their legacy refuses to fade. The Red Cross, the White Mantle, the oaths of loyalty and secrecy, all still evoke powerful images. From novels and films to conspiracy theories and documentaries, the Templars have become icons of mystery. But their real story, stripped of myth, is even more haunting. It's a story of power lost, loyalty betrayed, and truth buried under centuries of rumor. So the next time you hear of the Knights Templar, look past the legends and romantic tales. Remember the real men behind the myth, disciplined, devout, and ultimately destroyed by the very world they swore to protect. Their fall wasn't caused by heresy, idol worship, or devilish rituals. The real reason the Knights Templar fell was fear. The fear they inspired in those who once needed them most,